Chidos is a popular dude who gets called the new Diddy for having too many girls around him. But everything changes for the better when he realizes that his female friends want to escape the friend zone, so he decides to put his hot dogs into their buns. We follow a story of students looking for a purpose in their youth that is filled with the blues of the world around them. In the center of that story, we follow Chidos, a normal student who goes to a normal school, doing normal activities at the start of a new school year, while hoping that one day he will look back at these days with happiness, knowing he's the center of everything. He is scrolling through his phone when his cute classmate, Yua, greets him and asks what he's looking at. Chidos shows him how an anonymous person on social media is talking smack about him being a cheek clapping, glizzy slipping, Johnny Sins like womanizer, which annoys him. Yua assures him that, considering that most people like him, it will pass, and Chidos agrees, saying that a hot, smart guy with a big willy like him should have nothing to worry about. She then shows him that they will be in the same class again, which she's happy about. But when Chidos points out that their whole group is in the same class as well, Yua is not happy that he didn't react to her first statement. Then, they meet with their gang, and Yuko greets them with a bright smile. She holds Chidos' hands, celebrating that they are in the same class again, and Chidos tells her that he would have been sad without her. But Yua quickly says that Chidos was busy ogling at girls' cheeks on the walk to school, which gives Yuko the ick. Chidos tells Yua that she's just jealous, and it earns Chidos a smack from Kaido, who is the basketball team's superstar. And alongside him is Kazuki, a superstar of the football team. They put their hands together, and each announces that they are the group's leader before going to class. There, Chidos is greeted by Haru, the girls' basketball team star, who acts like she's one of the boys, and she teases Chidos about cutting his long hair. With her is Yuzuki, who is a part of the basketball team, and is considered one of the prettiest girls alongside Yuko. But unlike Yuko and her natural cuteness, Yuzuki carries more aura around her. Then, before class starts, Chidos declares that Team Chidos, their popular group, is reunited. But the others all declare that their name should be the brand. Just then, due to them being noisy, they notice some students get annoyed. But Chidos brushes it off, saying that haters will always hate in his perfect little world. Then the class starts, and their homeroom teacher, Kira, lazily greets them and wishes them another good year. But Chidos is used to his laid-back attitude, as Kira was his teacher the year before. Just then, Haru expresses how she feels hot having to wear a tie. Chidos suggests that she use a ribbon for more neck room, but Haru refuses, saying that it will ruin her image and reputation. Suddenly, Kira asks Chidos to take over like usual, and Chidos walks to the podium to talk to the class. He doesn't introduce himself, saying that they all know his name anyway, and even adds that some even call him Playboy. Some students laugh at his jokes, while some are annoyed by how much of a try-hard he is to look friendly. He then talks about the class rep election, but his friend group suggests that he should just be the class rep like before, which he proudly accepts. Yuko stands up, saying that she should be his vice rep like before, and even makes a joke that she's good at taking care of things. And just like that, they become the class reps. During lunch, Chidos gets himself a canned drink and goes to the rooftop, where Kira is waiting for him, smoking cigarettes. Chidos says that it must suck to be a smoker, as people bash them, and Kira says that people love a common enemy, which Chidos knows a lot about, considering people call him a playboy. Kira then tells Chidos why he's called to the rooftop, and shows a picture of a student named Kenta, a lonely otaku who has been missing school for 2 semesters. Kira asks for Chidos to bring him back, but Chidos is confused as to why he's asked to do this. Chidos asks what would happen if he refuses, and Kira points out that if he does refuse, his can-do-it-all persona will die, which is something Chidos doesn't want to happen, so he chooses to accept the request. Chidos convinces himself that his philosophy of living a beautiful life and enjoying youth has to continue, so he refuses to let it end. After school, on his way home, Chidos spots Asuka reading a book by herself, so he greets her, and Asuka greets her back. He sees the book Asuka is reading and recites a line from it, which impresses her to see that he knows it. The year before, it was the first time they met, and Chidos was heading home when he spotted a little jit getting bullied by his friends, who called him gross. The boy was cornered into the water, with nowhere to go, and Chidos was about to help him when, suddenly, a silver-haired girl jumped in, which amazed Chidos, saying that she wanted to join in the fun. She started playing with the water with the boy, lightening up the mood, and even invited the other boys to join in. When they did, they all had fun playing in the water together, and the boys all went home happy and back as buddies again. But it left Asuka's clothes drenched, and when she saw Chidos staring at her, she teased him for staring at her being all wet. He handed her a towel and asked her why she jumped into the water instead of simply pulling the boy out of the water to save him and scolding the other two for being mean. Asuka said that she thought it would be better if the boys went home messy and smiling instead of them fighting each other, even if it cost her drenching her clothes. Chidos then asked her for her name, and when she gave it to him, saying that her name meant tomorrow's wind, Chidos was immediately captivated by her. Back in the present, Asuka comments about how Chidos looks imperfectly perfect, like a perfectly beautiful park that doesn't allow fireworks and a playground, but is pretty just for the looks. Suddenly, she asks a hypothetical question, wondering who he would save between her and a girl she's closest to if they are both drowning, and that he only had a two-seater kayak. He suggests that one of them just hangs on, but Asuka adds that there are piranhas in the water. Asuka confidently declares that she would save him, saying that she likes him more than any boy on her class. Chidos says that she's bad at her romantic proposal, but she tells him that it's not a proposal. She claims that someone like Chidos wouldn't choose either, and rather, Chidos would put both girls in the kayak, while he would let himself get eaten by the piranhas, just because a self-sacrifice would be the most beautiful choice. Chidos laughs at that idea, saying that he wouldn't do that, but Asuka insists that a self-sacrificing person is exactly who Chidos is, which leaves Chidos speechless. That night, Chidos ponders to the moon, questioning whether, among the millions of people around him, he is fully living up to his role. As he looks to the moon, he wonders if Kenta is looking at the same moon, but unbeknownst to him, Kenta has his curtains closed, as he has closed himself off from the world. The next day, Yuzuki confronts Chidos, asking if anything is troubling him, and Chidos is not surprised, knowing that Yuzuki is someone who picks up people's moods, so he tells her about his mission from Kira to get Kenta to come back to school. She offers to come along with him, saying that it's better with company, and notices how Yuzuki, even when offering to help, makes sure that she looks perfect. He tells her that he already asked someone, and she tells him that he can always ask for her help, as she likes helping people she respects. After school, Chidos waits for Yua, and when she shows up, she trunks back to put on makeup, ensuring she looks good in front of Chidos. She asks why he invited her, and he says that, unlike him, she doesn't have many people who don't like her. He then prepares a bike for them, and when she gets on, he asks her to grab onto him so she won't fall, but she pinches his uniform, knowing that this dude has a reputation for being a playboy. On the ride to Kenta's place, she compliments his back, saying that it's unexpectedly big, and Chidos says that he was once the best baseball player in the prefecture. She says that she knows that, as she used to watch him play before they became friends, and Chidos teases her about being his fan. But then, she vaguely both confirms and denies it. She then asks if he has any ideas, and he says that he wants to break so he can feel her juicy melons on his back, which earns him her claws on his neck. She reiterates, asking if he has any plans to handle Kenta, and he says that it's pointless to make a plan without knowing what they are facing. Then, they reach the house and tell Kenta's mother through the teleprompter who they are and why they are there. The mother lets them in and says that she also doesn't know why her son suddenly stopped going to school. They suggest that they try talking to him, and while the mother is afraid that her son might revolt, they assure her, saying that maybe they can do something about him. Then, they knock on his room's door, and Kenta immediately tells them to go away. When Chidos introduces himself, Kenta calls him the playboy who claps anything with a hole, which needs Yua to calm Chidos down. But then, when Yua introduces herself to Kenta, he recognizes her as one of the holes Chidos likes to clap, which also angers her. Kenta calls them out for only caring because the teacher told them to come, so Chidos tries to calm him down by talking about what he loves, light novels. But Kenta calls them out for not even knowing light novels properly and following legendary ones like The Day I Got Reincarnated as Diddy, or I Wake Up as My Dad, so I have to clap my mom to make sure I exist.
Hey yo, what the?
They admit that they don't follow either of them, and Yua asks for recommendations from him. But Kenta tells her to stop pretending that she's interested and go slip in the shower. However, Yua insists that they should talk, and Kenta slowly opens up to her, Seeing this, Chitos says that he should step away, but that angers Kenta, as he thinks that Chitos sees him as a loser, while Chitos can just bump bellies with Yua afterward. Sensing the extreme hostility, Chitos says that they should leave, and Kenta tells them not to come back, saying they have nothing in common. On the ride back home, Yua asks if Chitos notices anything from the meeting, and all he can think of is that Kenta hates him so much that he would bite Kenta's pickle off if he could. Yua can see why he would hate Chitos, but she assures Chitos that he is still cool even with the hate. Then, they get some novels to read, and as they head home, the orange sky presents itself to them, all the while Yua has her hand tightly on Chitos. That night, Chitos decides to take a different approach, so the week after, he takes Yuko with him to meet Kenta, thinking she would help. On the bike, she warns him to sit down, as people can see her snoo. But she doesn't mind some randoms seeing it. So Chitos jokes and asks her to show it to him, but she says that he gets to see it on their special day. As she sits behind him, she says that Chitos doesn't reek of sweat like before anymore, but that disappoints her as she likes the smell of his sweat. She pushes her melon into him and stays like that until they get to Kenta's place. There, Kenta once more tells Chitos and his transmitted diseases to go away. When he doesn't hear from Yua, Kenta already knows that she doesn't care about him, but Chitos assures him that she's not like that. Then, Yuko introduces herself to Kenta, and like before, Kenta calls her one of the plot holes Chitos likes to clap, but she doesn't get what he means. When Chitos explains, she gets offended, saying that her plot holes are limited edition, and that his words are mean. Kenta points out that Yuko is probably only here to score points with Chitos, and she admits that she does want to impress him and be the #1 girl in his mind by helping him. Kenta doesn't want to be someone she takes pity on to impress someone else, but from his words, Yuko realizes something. She asks Kenta if he stopped coming to school because a girl rejected him. And he confirms it by saying that she's the same way as someone trying to impress Chitos. But unlike Kenta, Yuko claims that she's willing to win him over against other girls, and that him being nice to everyone is why she has feelings for him. Hearing that frustrates Kenta, so Chitos asks Yuko to have some tea downstairs while he takes over. Understanding what happened, Chitos asks Kenta to open the door so they can talk and he can help him. But Kenta refuses to open the door, ordering Chitos to go away and eat dirt. But when Chitos walks away, Kenta secretly wishes he could have been on the other side of the door with them. But then, moments later, Kenta sees a shadow figure in his window, and suddenly, Chitos breaks the window with a baseball bat, shocking Kenta. With a smile, he invites Kenta to join him and find something in common with each other. Kenta tells Chitos that what he did is a crime, but Chitos assures him that Kenta's mother has given him permission. Chitos then sits down across from Kenta, turns on the light, and suggests that they have a heart-to-heart conversation. Hearing that, Kenta pours his heart out and expresses how much he hates the popular kids for looking down on losers like him, and that they should have learned to treat them as actual people. He adds that they're popular only because they're hot or athletic, but Chitos tells him he's wrong, and says that while some people have physical advantages, people like Yuko, Yua, and his athlete friends all put in effort to get to where they are. Kenta brings up the fact that losers like him can't defeat the gifted kids no matter how hard he tries, which makes it pointless, but Chitos disagrees and says that he has to believe in himself and his hard work, that one day he can succeed. Chitos then teaches Kenta how to communicate, and when Kenta gives it a try, he manages to talk about how Chitos has grown to like reading light novels. Kenta doesn't believe an ounce that Chitos actually enjoyed reading light novels, but Chitos tells Kenta that for a whole week, he has read masterpieces like In Another World as Bonnie Blue, So I Have to Gobble 1,000 Glizzies, and I Was Born a Loser, so I decided to lock in and become Johnny Sins. To prove further that Chitos does read them, he tells Kenta in detail the story he read, which amazes him, and Chitos says that he is actually an avid reader. Kenta asks Chitos why he did all of that, and Chitos says that he hates people who insult others without knowing them first, which was what Kenta did to him. Chitos says that the base of communication is wanting to know someone else better, which was what Yua and Yuko tried to do with Kenta. So Chitos points out that Kenta is a hypocrite for doing exactly what he hated about people, which took Kenta aback. Chitos then pulls out a book from Kenta's bookshelf and tells Kenta a story about a man who has God-gifted talents. The man Chitos says was someone handsome, had a big willy, and was nice to everyone. but he also achieved good grades and a reputation through training and hard work. However, because he was too perfect, people started hating him and would capitalize on mocking him if he ever slipped even a little bit. He then started purposefully lowering his grades to make people like him, but they all hated him even more, which annoys Kenta, who is hearing this story. However, Chido says that a teacher saved that man by making him feel comfortable with his own God-given gifts and advantages, and that someone like him has to take charge and lead the people. From then on, the guy stopped holding back and only improved himself more, just so he could fly higher and live beautifully the way nobody can reach, just like the blue moon in the night sky, or the dazzling glass in a bottle of ramune. Kenta asks who it's about, and when Chido says that it's about him, Kenta tells him to stop gobbling his own glizzy. But Kenta does admit that he did make Chidos the bad guy in his life, even though he doesn't know him well. Chidos believes that people over-idealize and demonize popularity at the same time, but Kenta doesn't see it as a bad thing, considering that Chidos is winning in life. Chidos asks him for an example of him winning, and Kenta points out that it's easy for him to bag any baddies due to his handsome mug. But Chidos adds that it's a disadvantage when he gets called a womanizer for it on a daily basis. Kenta brings up that there are people who want to put them down, and while Chidos agrees, he assures Kenta that his friends are all good people. Chidos suggests that Kenta should focus on himself and not on other people's hatred. Kenta brings up how it's easy for him to date people, but while Chidos acknowledges that, he says that it's troublesome when his own friends have feelings for him, and he has to cruelly reject his own friends from their feelings, which could end with him being painted as the bad guy. Kenta then wants to talk about what happened to him, and Chidos is relieved that he wants to open up, but tells Kenta that he can already guess how Kenta told a fellow otaku his feelings for her, and she brutally rejected him, as Kenta is not some hot, handsome Chad, which made Kenta hate her and everyone. The two bond over Kenta's traumatic experience, and Yuki listens from the outside, happy that they're making progress. They then talk about their next steps, and Kenta says that while he no longer has feelings for Miki, the girl who rejected him, he wants to be popular and asks Chidos to tutor him. Chidos refuses, saying that he doesn't want to hang out with Kenta all the time, and that Kenta has to take responsibility for his own life. However, wanting to live by his beliefs, Chidos agrees to help him get on his feet for 3 weeks. So first, Chidos asks Kenta what his goals are. Kenta says that he wants to show Miki and the people who bullied him who's boss, and Chidos is fully behind his motive to show that Miki missed out on dating such a big-willied Sigma in Kenta. However, Kenta feels scared of facing Miki and girls in general, so Chidos tells Kenta that he has yet to experience the softness of sweet melons. That gets Kenta's attention, so Chidos encourages him that he has to rise up to be someone better, so one day, he can plant his hot dog between some sweet buns. Later, Kenta goes downstairs to apologize to his mother for the trouble and to Yuko for insulting her, and Yuko assures him that they're cool, but points out that Kenta should shower. Yuko then helps out by cutting Kenta's hair, and Chido says that what they should do first is to give him a makeover, so he orders Kenta to go on a diet. He then takes Kenta's phone and bans him from using social media for the time being. When Kenta asks why, Chido says that Kenta has to first understand why hating on other people with anonymous accounts is not good for him. Afterward, Chido sits down with Yuko, who is happy that everything went smoothly, and Chido says that he only pushed Kenta to move on and find a new chick. Yuko praises him, saying that his attitude makes it easy for people to like him, the same way she likes him. Chidos asks that she not bring up their past, but Yuko wishes that one day, Chidos can open his heart for her, as there are a lot of things that she wants to express to him. The next morning, Kenta feels nervous to come back to school after months of being absent, but Chidos assures him that being nervous is the first step of making a big change in his life. Chidos pops into the class with Kenta and introduces Kenta to everyone with a light joke. He then jokes about how Kenta stopped going to school because he was rejected, and while Kenta feels tense, Chidos suggests that he has to make people laugh. Everyone in Chidos's friend group joins in the fun and makes fun of his rejection lightly, which gains laughter from the class. Kenta feels insecure about it, but Chidos teaches him that there is a difference between jokes and insults, and Kenta needs to know the difference between the two. Their teacher is about to walk in, but when he sees Kenta there, he realizes that Chidos succeeded in his mission, so he gives his students time to help Kenta adjust. Later, at lunch, the girls are confused by what Kenta brought for his lunch, and Kenta informs them that he needs to go on a diet, following Chidos's advice to make him look hotter. They then ask him about what happened, and Kenta tells them how he was part of a club of otakus, and there was a girl there, Miki, whom he had a crush on. But because another member of the club was hotter with washboard abs, Miki chose the handsome Chad instead of Kenta, even after he gathered the courage to confess, which broke his heart. Chidos adds that Miki called Kenta a fat loser who should choke on a glizzy before rejecting him, and they all show support to Kenta, saying that he was manly for even confessing to her. But later, one of the boys, Kazuki, confronts Chidos for suddenly bringing someone new into their group, and he warns Chidos that someone like Kenta cannot change into a different person that easily. However, Chidos disagrees and has full faith in Kenta to change into someone better. On the rooftop, Chidos sits down with Kira, who praises Chidos for completing his mission with style. But then, Chidos asks Kira what it means to live life truly for himself. Kira thinks about it for a bit, smokes a cigarette, and says that most people doubt their own judgment and sense of purpose, so they tend to look at others to compare or even drag others down. To live life fully, he says, is to fully believe in their own life compass, and that makes Chidos wonder whether his compass is still as good as it was before. Thank you for watching today's recap video. If you enjoy this recap and want a part 3, comment down below Fatty Makeover and hit the like button.